fashions in morphology. Let's look at some trends in morphology. So if we simply look at this title, it differs morphology from syntax. So it makes sense to ask whether a certain word formation process is in or out of fashion, right? But this is not the case with syntax. So syntax is stable. The fact that many morphological processes are haphazardly gappy, right? They lack some the formal journal aspect, though they are formally and semantically correct. Whereas few, if any, syntactic structures are gappy in this way. So there are few syntactic structures we look at in detail. In morphology, gaps get filled, or else gappy processes lose their regularity and survive only in few lexical listed lexeme, like the process of forming abstract nouns by affixing th. So we seldom use this th affix to every noun to make an abstract noun. For example, we find it length, right? So we do not use long with th, length, but we do not use this th with all other adjectives to form this abstract noun. A systematic study of morphological fashions belongs to a historical study of English word formation rather than to an introductory survey such as this. So to look at that, how a certain suffix was used with a certain base or free root has to be known through the study or the development of the English language. We cannot say anything at a certain point in time, especially in present, or by simply surveying it in a manner which does not lead to any detail. Two fashions are important that manifested themselves in the last half of the 20th century against trends of last couple of centuries. I mean, especially there are trends which were found in the half of the 20th century, after 1950, and the trends, they were in vogue in the previous centuries before 1950. The first is a fashion for certain Latin and Greek-derived prefixes. Obviously, the words were derived from these two languages, most of the word. The second is a fashion for a certain kind of headless compound. So different words were used to make a compound, and these compounds were headless. We have discussed a lot about headless compound. I mean, that means that none of the two part of the compound refers to any meaning, is the head of it. For example, pickpocket. We cannot say that pocket that picks, right? Conscious borrowing from Latin and to a lesser extent Greek were fashionable in certain literary styles of 16th and 17th century because of a perceived need to enrich the English vocabulary, right? So in the past it was easy because words were borrowed from these two languages, as the science and technology was in the process of a very fast and rapid development. But such borrowings are often obscure and even incomprehensible to ordinary readers, were also attacked as incoherent terms, mere productive of some scholars' desire to show off his knowledge of Latin. So the common man criticized these terms because they thought that these terms were being introduced or thrown by some scholars who want to show their learning of the language. The result is that the Latin and Greek-derived element in vocabulary of English has, since the 18th century, been pruned rather than increased, right? So it has the affixes and the vocabulary from these two languages have decreased. under this influence. So we find, and if we look at the languages, we find that certain prefixes are being used, but not the way. So we can have Latin super, so we get a word superstar, superman, super rich, and Greek hyper in hyperactivity, hypermarket, or macro, mega, giga, and nano. These are some words which are used in English languages nowadays, right? These prefixes still exist. So a fashion for a certain kind of headless compound or exocentric compound. So now there is a fashion of headless compounds in which none of the part refers to its meaning. The meaning lies in the external word. For example, redhead, it's a red head which is red, it's a lazy bones, pickpocket, long neck, etc. So these are exocentric compounds. For their meaning, we have to look not in the linguistic part of the word, but in the word outside the linguistic word. So we can say that now the influence of Greek and Latin is not as strong as it used to be before the first half of the 20th century. After the first half of the 20th century, there is more influence of the native speakers. They coin different terms, or the people belonging to different profession who coin new words because of the need of their profession.